To kick off this afternoon, I'll give you a very brief presentation about some things that are happening in a very exciting space, which is eSports, online games, NFTs, and Metaverse. If you have children, you probably cannot avoid hearing about this because everybody is buying NFTs. Who has children who are buying NFTs somewhere? Not me, but I know lots of people are, exactly. In the online sports and e-game space, one of the key components of what a blockchain can do, as well as in particular BSV, is enable microtransactions and micropayments. And this is a big amount of the activity I've been seeing. In fact, what led me into the blockchain world from law, which I was involved with for 21 years, I was an intellectual property and digital technology lawyer in the US, starting in the mid-1990s at the early boom of the internet, and saw that technology wave. And about 2000, around 2010, 11, 12, after Bitcoin emerged into the world, some of my clients started contacting me not to use Bitcoin, but to explore the use of virtual items and virtual currencies in online games, including MMO-type massive multiplayer games. And so we started exploring some technology to do that with a number of my clients. But the thing that is the holy grail for a lot of those companies is the ability to do micro payments and microtransactions. They wanted to be able to reward players or engage in digital economic activity in games in tiny amounts, which young people or casual gamers may want to do. No one's playing to earn lots of money. They want to be able to play for lots and lots of amounts. And this is where BSV's tiny transaction fee allows activity where you're rewarding 1 US penny, 2 US pennies at a time. Here's an example. There is a startup company in the US called Haste Arcade, which has developed a very powerful platform for a very simple concept. In fact, when they first told me about it, I thought it was so profound. Who here played video games when they were younger at the arcade, when you actually went to an arcade? I did. I used to be obsessed with Street Fighter, Tetris. I was a big Tetris geek. In fact, I will confess, during my university days at UCLA, skipping some lectures to go to the student hall and playing Tetris. And if you played video games, you would stick a coin into the arcade machine. And if you were really good, and I'm sure Dr. Bossum was really, really good, you got onto the leaderboard and got to put your initials into the machine, right? Great. But you never earned anything or received anything as a result. But what if you could? So Haste Arcade has developed a platform which can be connected to any type of online or casual game through an SDK, software development kit, that can be used by any game developer. And it has a concept called instant leaderboard payout, meaning you pay to play some game. If you get onto the leaderboard, let's say the top 10, everyone who comes after you, who does not beat your score, you get a tiny fraction of their payment in tiny little micropayments or microtransactions, which go instantly to wallets. This can be done with the native coin of BSV or game tokens, rewards coins, if people don't want to use a native coin and actually want to just create some type of micro reward system. It's really powerful yet so simple because it encourages people to play, and you can actually play to earn, which is a big trend in the game and esports community, where people are earning something of value for playing games. Easy to integrate, and it actually can really, really reinvent the whole experience, especially of mobile casual games. Crypto Fights is an esports platform and game on the BSV platform, which is doing something similar. This is more of a battle game, so if you played Dungeons and Dragons when you were young, which I did as well, so you're learning all of Jimmy's geek secrets on stage today. You know, that's where you create an imaginary character. You would roll dice and sort of say, oh, I swung my axe and you lost 4 life points, for example. And so with this game, you create a virtual avatar and roll dice to play the game. So it's a skill-based strategy game, because you can make choices like, I want to be the wizard, which is less strong but faster and has magic, for example. And so they use the blockchain for several different ways. One, for the micropayments capability. 2, to tokenize the virtual item. So for example, the battle axe that gains more power over time, that can exist as an NFT, non-fungible token on the blockchain. And they're actually creating a platform so that it can be accessed by other games, not just their game. So your character avatar, as it gets more experience and gets to be a stronger wizard, or the battle axe or the sword that you buy and play with, can be used not just in their game, but in the future, because it lives on the blockchain, could be accessed and used in someone else's game. So creating a more multiverse game, multiverse concept. And that is a real power of blockchain, to have an asset publicly available that you can verify is that same avatar or character, that it gains experience and points and things over time, accessible across games. Also because esports betting is a huge industry across the world now, as people actually, have turned this into a profession, and there's actually esports betting around the world. There's questions about the integrity of games. Are players cheating in order to affect the outcome of, matches? There's whole stadiums now where people actually come watch these. So they've developed a system where they take the blockchain and use it for data integrity, which we've talked about earlier today. So every one of these dice move, they record as a data transaction to the BSV blockchain, so that every move in a game can be tracked, recorded, and you can look for anomalies. They've even developed not what is a blockchain explorer, but a battle explorer, so people can search and do analytics about gameplay to see what are the trends of certain winning players, to create more integrity. It doesn't stop fraud. And remember, blockchain doesn't stop human bad behavior. It makes it easier to detect it, and there hopefully disincentivizes it. So it's a fascinating use of blockchain for the data integrity and play integrity of esports games. So just booming, they are really taking off. They're just coming out of beta, but just that game alone is generating sometimes 3 or 4 million daily data transactions on BSV. This game was originally built on trying on Ethereum. And Adam Kling, who's the CEO of the company in the United States, had this to say: we decided to leave because of problems with Ethereum, and BSV is the best choice for us and the value we're working towards to bring to the esports community. They simply could not do it on Ethereum because of scale. Every dice roll, every play move is a separate data transaction on chain. If it cost 40, 60, even 10 US dollars, you cannot do that. They can do it with the microtransaction and microdata capabilities of the BSV blockchain. We're also seeing a lot of activity around the world with NFTs on multiple chains. Most of the NFTs you see in the world are right now being built using the Ethereum network, and there's others like Polygon, Solana, and a number. On BSV, we're seeing something that is much more powerful, actually storing the digital asset on chain. I will leave for another day my feelings about whether this NFT boom we're seeing is really, legitimate or not. I think like most blockchain, crazes, there's, people just out there trying to make lots of fast money for trading of what is just, JPEG art. But NFTs do have a proper purpose. And unfortunately, if you buy an NFT, let's say on OpenSea, which is one of the main trading platforms for NFTs, what you probably don't realize is if it's of a piece of digital art, a pet, like a Duro dog, which is one of the ones on the BSV network, a digital pet. The asset itself, that JPEG, that digital dog on OpenSea, does not live on-chain. In almost all likelihood, the actual asset is stored in IPFS or an AWS server, and the only thing that's on-chain is a record of ownership, a record of transfer of ownership, or trading activity on it. Why? Because it would cost too much to put the digital file on the Ethereum blockchain. And even if you've tried to mint an NFT on OpenSea or Ethereum, for example, I've had friends call me up and complain saying, I wanted to do an art NFT, and they're gonna charge me $80 US dollars to make an NFT. And that's fine if you wanna be Beeple and sell your art for millions of dollars through an auction house. But if you are an aspiring artist or you want to do promotions for a brand company to make tens of thousands of these, it's cost prohibitive. And you cannot afford to store the data on chain. By putting the asset on chain, you open up more technical capability. You have the security of not relying on AWS servers, which have gone out and made NFTs inaccessible to their users. For example, now Twitter is allowing you to pay if you want to have an NFT object that you bought somewhere else as your profile pic on Twitter. So it pulls it from somewhere else. But if AWS goes down, OpenSea is not able to serve to you your NFT file to your Twitter profile. We can afford to put NFTs directly on chain because they're so efficient on BSV. So there's a pet collectible called Duro Dogs, there's contemporary art called Bullish Art, and even new battle mice game called Galactic Mice, which is emerging where you get a mouse avatar and then you start fighting each other. Their game is going to launch. Well, Nifty Jigs, which is one of the BSV companies last year, minted over 175,000 digital art content NFTs. Do you want to take a guess at how much it cost them to do on BSV? $175 US dollars. Not free, but almost free. This opens up the capacity to do many things with NFTs, not just to make games. But imagine if you are a big brand company and you want to do big promotion in conjunction with Leap, right? You want to distribute NFTs to all the attendees at Leap. That could be 100,000 plus or multiple ones as a promotional item. That costs a lot of money on Ethereum, but you could do it very efficiently for free promotions. Government agencies, if you want to incentivize better citizen behavior, recycling, sustainability practice, walking health practice, and you want to create NFTs to give out to your entire kingdom, with everyone earning NFTs, the cost of doing so with a scale blockchain makes it much, much more efficient, and more likely you'll experiment with NFTs that do not cost a lot. So we're also seeing putting music files as an NFT on chain, because you can actually put and afford to put the whole music file on chain, and then trading of the NFT gives people rights to the revenue stream from the music file, and therefore makes an actually useful NFT that has a point, rather than being just a piece of digital art. And finally, in the metaverse, because we hear about this so much, you can't avoid hearing about the metaverse these days, especially since Facebook changed its name. One of the powers of metaverse is the power of location data. And so having more location data points from IoT devices or your connecting devices will allow the metaverse to be brought to life. And there's a company in the US called Transmira, which has an AR, VR, and metaverse platform working on the BSV blockchain that is doing just that. And it involves everything from location to even making avatars of yourself. I was at the big CES trade show in Las Vegas in January. They brought out a body scanner. I had myself body scanned with an Apple, very Renaissance man, to create what is this avatar that right now does not live on the blockchain, but can, and I'm gonna help work with them to see if I can get this on the blockchain so that that avatar could be accessed across different platforms. If I want to use it in a metaverse, maybe the Saudi government will one day launch, Meta Saudi Arabia, and I could port it to different platforms, whether it's a Facebook platform, a government one, an educational one, right? Maybe I'll be appearing in these stages in the future in a metaverse to educate people about blockchain. And we're also seeing virtual real estate being sold as NFTs, where you own as a non-fungible token an identity to a location on a virtual map, which is very interesting for the future of real estate. And we're seeing digital twins of entire cities. So Transmira is working with a company called Aerometrics to do digital scans and digital twinning of entire cities. They've done it with several cities. Here's an example of what they've done in Los Angeles, to basically digitally twin the entire city, the buildings, the arenas, the schools, the hospitals, and set up the environment for the future where you can conduct commerce in metaverse in these locations, where you can do education in the halls of a university in a metaverse, where you can get medical consultation by going to the metaverse of the hospital. So this is just a start, but it started with the digital twinning technology, which is very accurate, will improve even more over time. They've done this with, I think, 3 or 4 cities, are continuing to do more as part of their mission to create a very sophisticated metaverse that will allow data and economic activity at mass scale, and that's why they've chosen to work with a blockchain, ours, which can handle that efficiently for very, very low fees, because you can imagine the number of data points that can be flying around and transacted in that particular environment. So that's a quick overview of the kinds of things we're seeing across the world on BSV, as well as some other blockchains that affect this very exciting combination of eSports, online games, NFTs, and metaverse, which are all converging. And I know this is a region that loves their games, and so I think you'll be hearing a lot more about that in the intersection of blockchain and esports, which has a lot of people interested in both.